Once we're on that, then we can start.
Okay.
Period.
Okay, we are live.
Okay, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the North Branford Zoning Board of Appeals. We're meeting on May 18th, 2020, and meeting via electronic media versus in person at the town hall because of all the restrictions, as we all know, because of the COVID-19 virus. So that's why we're meeting is in the method that we are. So, Tom, do you have the meeting notice there that you could read into the record?
I do, but I may have to use my magnifying glass.
Well, hold on real quick. Can we just do roll call because that wasn't on
Okay.
the when the recording was going?
Okay. Well, let's go ahead, members of the board.
Do you want
Let's
me
do
to
it.
lead it, or
What's that?
do you want me to lead it since I can see everyone?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so we have obviously Steve Kenning, Tom Caton,
Aye.
Melinda Fonda,
Here.
Peter Deo,
Here.
Vin Valero. Oh, wait, you're on mute. That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm here.
And John Duty.
Here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good. We have very good representation, which is a good thing for the board. So, no problem getting 5 voting members tonight. Okay. So, so Tom, you said you had your magnifying glass there to read the meeting notice into the record, please.
Okay. May 6, 2020, legal notice, North Branford Zoning Board of Appeals, note executive order 71 legal notice being posted on the town of North Branford's website in accordance with Governor Vermont's order 7B regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. This meeting will be held remotely with no in-person attendance. Notice is hereby given. The North Branford Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a virtual public hearing at 7 p.m. on Monday, May 18, 2020. It can be accessed via Totucket TV's Facebook page or via email. Sending comments to comments at townofnorthbranfordct.com. The ZBA will be considering the following application: A, application number 2020-6, 1167 Foxen Road, requesting a variance to reduce the street line setback from 50 feet to 75.4 feet along the western right-of-way. Reduce the street line setback from 50 feet to 10.7 feet along the southern right-of-way, and reduce the setback from residential district from 50 feet to 35.7 feet for construction of a proposed new gas station / convenience store. Owner Fox and Gas Stop LLC, applicant Nadine Khalid. At the hearing, all interested persons may participate via the Totucket TV Facebook page and or by emailing comments to public-comments at townofnorthbranfordct.com. The proposals are on the town's website. Chairman. On with using my magnifying.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom. A little broken up in places here or there, but did anybody have any problems hearing exactly what is before us tonight? I mean, all the board members have got, you know, the application electronically, but any case, okay. Well, thank you, Tom, for
I
reading.
think, Steve, that we're okay because it was posted with our materials. So
Right.
whatever was choppy, people can refer to the online paper version.
Yep, I agree too. So let me ask the the board members that are online, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with this application before us tonight?
No.
Okay.
No.
I did not hear any positives.
No.
So all do not have, no one has a
Yeah.
conflict, but we do have 6 members, and we're only going to have 5 voting members. So the 2 alternates that we have are Vince and Peter. So one of you folks will not be voting tonight. I will just go by order of longevity on the board and have Vince be the voting alternate member. Peter, no slurs intended by any means, but you feel free to
No worries.
listen, take part. But just won't be able to vote on this tonight. So,
No worries, Steve.
okay. So that's who's going to be voting members. So, for those, for the applicant, which I'm sure is here, we got on the line with us. So, just so you know how this is going to work, so make sure you know what the procedure is. There's only one application tonight, which is yours. So we'll hear that one. And then you'll have the opportunity to, well, again, we've all received your materials in the application. And so you'll have the opportunity to present your application to us, and board members can, question any questions they may have on what the application consists of. And then after that time, we'll open it up to the general public who may be calling in or listening in on our Facebook page, and they'll be able to make comment either in favor of or against, or just questions about what's being proposed here. After everyone has a chance to say their piece, then we'll close the public hearing, and the board will discuss amongst ourselves in public here, and then take a vote. You need 4 positive votes to pass. So there'll be 4 people voting tonight, so 1 person could vote against it, and it would still pass. Anyway, that's how the meeting is going to proceed. We first have to approve our minutes from last meeting, which everyone received.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of April 20th, 2020.
Can you just state your
I'll
name?
second that.
This is Vin Valero.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion to accept the minutes, say aye.
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 Anyone
Aye.
opposed? No. So the minutes from last month in April have been approved. And we've got the one application before us tonight, and I know it's kind of hard to open up these things one after another, as to I wanted to, because there was a question on one of the members of the public, and we'll get to that part when I won't read the whole letter they submitted, but we've all received this correspondence from one of the abutting property owners. I believe they've all been notified. I talked with Carrie about this before. There was a question by an abutting property member, if everyone within 100 feet, every property owner has been notified. And I talked with Carrie, and they have. There was one at, I think it was 11, close to bank, that was 133 feet away. So that one was not notified in our normal manner with the notification cards. All the others have been notified. There was also a question, I guess it's time to bring this up. Let me, okay. Try to open about 6 things at once here. Let me see.
So I just want to also mention, there was a call that I had this afternoon with a property owner whose property is behind Dunkin' Donuts, if you're familiar with that area. So the driveway is adjacent to this property, but on our assessor's GIS database, it did not come up as a parcel, so they were not included. I asked him if he was aware of the meeting, and he said that he was, and he was okay with the meeting moving forward, and he had spoken with the other 3 property owners. But like I say, the driveway itself was not identified as a parcel, so that's why they did not receive a mailing. But he is aware of the meeting, and he's said he was okay with it proceeding. The other kind of interesting thing, because we are dealing with COVID right now, was an executive order last month, Executive Order 7I, that permitted applicants to post a sign on the property as opposed to doing the mailings. I did talk with the applicant and encouraged him to do the mailings in addition, which he agreed to do. But because of COVID and people being nervous about going out to the post office or the inability to even post a sign, this executive order did exempt them from doing that, but he did post the sign and he did actually do the mailings as well. And we also posted it on our website.
Right, so all the notifications there with the applicant, if you're, just so it gets on the verbal record, one of the items that the abutting property owner had an issue with is that he didn't receive the message, the notification of the application, the correct number of days, 15 days prior. It was dated 11 days prior. So he had a question whether he could even have the meeting. But as I talked with Carrie about this, about the meeting, and she just stated again about the executive order from the governor overriding those requirements. So, I gotta read 2 things actually. Let me read again. I can't read this letter. It'd take a good 25 minutes of me reading it, but all the board members have it, and just so it's in the record as to what it basically consists of. It's dated May 15th, addressed to myself and all you board members and Carrie Duquesne, and it makes mention of the fact that it's from Mark and Gloria Amaturo, which is a property owner that's directly behind the existing gas station and the one that's the application consists of about. And it has to do with, like I just mentioned, this inadequate notice of both the people at 1139 Foxen Road, which was the bank, which is beyond the 100 feet, and the question about the 15 days, and they received it 11 days, and that's not an issue because of what Carrie just mentioned about the governor's order. Then there was a question about encroachment, which is one of the items that has to do with the setbacks. This property owner is concerned about the real close one to the right-of-way that goes back to their house. There is a question about as far as the proposed building itself, what the changes were going to be to the property, which is in the, in the materials we got, and the public has access to those, or at least they have availability to them prior to the meeting. Do you know, Carrie, if the property owner directly behind the Amaturos came in to look to see exactly what the building consists of, or whether they talk to you about what the building's going to consist of?
So yes, I spoke with Gary Amatrudo this afternoon over the phone. He only had access to what was available online because town hall is closed. He's not able to come into town hall, but we posted the application and the plans that were submitted as part of it. As you mentioned, part of the concern was just the right-of-way, which again, as you know, the variance being requested is to reduce that required 50-foot setback from the edge of the right-of-way and reduce that, that is their main access to their home. There are at least 2 homes interior from Route 80 that use that right-of-way, so that was a question and a concern. The proposal, again, is not to encroach within the right-of-way, just within the 50-foot setback from the right-of-way.
Right. Okay. And then just gonna wrap up what the letter consists of. There's also there's a concern about the number of vehicles that are parked on the current property, which I'm sure the applicant can address. He said there's 17 cars parked there, some in various states of disrepair and unregistered. He's concerned of just the overall visual negative impact of the existing gasoline station, and is concerned that that won't be changed. Hopefully that'll be addressed. And then there's a question. He's saying that it's going to be 7 days operation, as opposed in the past it hasn't been 7 days, and that's concerned about the just the operation, the noise, the visual, the lights, and so forth, with meeting every day. Okay. And now he has the agenda. He also included 2 charts that show where the right-of-way is. So you consider that being read into the record, the input from the abutting property owner. And we got the notification cards, the correspondence. I have to read the actual stated hardship, or I will for the record, into it. I'm having trouble finding the actual, oh, here's the application. I think this is it. No. It was nice when you had pieces of paper you could have. I'm looking at all of the, is this it here? No, that's a letter I just read. I'm going back and forth between my computer and my cell phone, trying to keep everything straight.
I have it here if you'd like for me to read it in.
Okay, yeah, if you could read the hardship into the record. I'm just having trouble finding it here on my about 10
Sure.
emails. Find it.
So it's section 24, Schedule B, line 7.1, which is street line setback, and section 24, Schedule B, line 7.4, setback from a residential district. And I can try and share my screen once we get into conversation, just so we have a visual to kind of to look at, to give you some context.
Yeah, okay, and the actual hardship that's stated in the application, on the second page of it there.
So should I, okay, so then describe the ground of appeal, stating the hardship, the right-of-way encroachment of property.
Right, that's one of the main items here, is the encroachment that's taken place on the right-of-way. There's a road, if you've seen the plot plans and so forth for this that were included, it's the right-of-way going back to 3 houses up on the kind of hill behind it. That's been a problem. That's another issue that the abutting property owner has. Okay, so we got the notification cards, the correspondence, and the hardship all read into the record, and the applicant is here. And would you like to just give us a rundown in your words what you're looking for as far as these several variances?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Nadeem Khalid. We are the property owner. Reason this thing is going on, I know a few points you mentioned, the way right now all the cars are parked, and we recently purchased this property. We really want to clean up that entire area, as well as it is non-conforming building. A lot of ADA and handicap people comes for the bathroom accessibility, which is not there. There's a handicap parking. There are some kind of issues. And plus the biggest thing is another that when people pull in for getting the gas, it's unsafe condition where the canopy and the building is right now. So this is what we requested to Carrie and town planner, and we appreciate all her help and guidance. So we come to that a few different ideas and put this building in place, so which accomplish some of the non-conforming of that canopy. So we are moving the canopy in a back, as well as that we are just creating a whole new entire new building. So that way nobody park the cars overnight, and right now the way it's look like a junkyard, we just trying to eliminate. So right now, be honest with you, the whole area is like hell. And our intentions are just to bring the whole thing like a more presentable, where all that ADA people, as well as the safety and that those concerns are taken care. Second thing you mentioned about that the rear properties for the lights and all that, we already proposed some high arborvitae trees in a back property. So we are trying to get like as big as possible. So when people pull in, so those lights and nothing get disturbed to the back. Those are few homes in there. Last, I'll request you is the way this whole plans comes, the way it shows. I think that place need a new life, and we are here. We need your blessing, so we can put this thing into the reality. And so where the ADA, where that like a safety features and some of the better operation, some decent decent looking building, as well as all the operation is like a presentable, sir. We are willing to work out anything you want. I mean, we can, I know they have a few concerns about the building. We can move like a few feet building here and there, as long as there is no big issue or concern. We are completely open to work it out with the town, city, as well as the town planner.
Okay,
Should I try and share my screen, Steve, real quick?
sure.
Hold on.
If you'd like, I can share my screen and, oh, no, I can't, 'cause it's disabled.
Oh, I
Sorry.
can enable.
If you'd like to enable it, I can share my screen and show whatever you want to show.
Is it showing up as enabling?
It is? Yep.
All right. Thanks, Vin.
You're welcome. All right, what would you like me to show?
So that's helpful. Let's see. Nadeem, do you want to, and then, so that plan, and then also the actual engineered survey
That's correct.
would be great, Vin, to show
You want this plan or the
Yes.
single page survey?
that plan, because I think there's a chart to the left, a table, excuse me, table on one of the plans, not that one, actually, sorry.
It's all right. It's going to be this one.
Yes. So that table, underneath the table explains the variance requests specifically.
Is everybody able to see that?
Yeah, yeah. I hope Mr. Chairman as well.
Yeah, that's good, Vin.
So just to walk through them, you see in the table regulations for B-1 zone, and it lists the item and minimum lot areas, and goes all the way down. If you go underneath of that, there's the non-conforming condition requiring a ZBA variance. Number 1, proposed main building from minimum rear yard, 35.7. So if you look at the proposed building, you'll see a right-of-way that's 25 feet wide. And in our zoning regulations, right-of-ways are considered a street. So the street, the required setback from a street line is 50 feet. And so that's where they are proposing to, reduce that setback. And I'm sorry, I'm describing actually number 3. Proposed main building from a southern right-of-way, 10.7, as opposed to the 50 feet. And that's not from the property line. The property line is the rear yard, 35.7, which that meets regulation. And then if you
Oh,
look
so
at
that-
if you look at number 2, proposed main building from western right-of-way, so that's the 30-foot right-of-way to the west or the left side of the plan that you're looking at.
Mhm.
Again, they're required to be 50 feet from that edge, and they're proposing to be 25.4. I just went over
So
number,
that,
yep,
so that dashed, between the two dashed lines there, that's the right of way, where it's got, that arrow, you know, with two arrow points on each end there, where it says 30-foot right of way. So that's the current driveway that goes up to the property owners behind the property, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And that was the area that there was a concern about vehicles being parked there.
Right.
Because as you'll notice, if you look at the detail, Tom, you can get your magnifying glass out, that whole area is actually not paved. You can see right above where it has 30 feet, it says edge of driveway. So the right-of-way is 30 feet wide, but the paved portion is a little bit less than that. But the building, again, they're not proposing anything within that right-of-way, but they're proposing a reduced setback of the building. Instead of 50 feet, 25.4. And then if you go down to the number 4 item, proposed main building from residential district. So the zoning of this parcel is business. If you look at the bottom of the screen where it says Mark and Gloria Amatrudo, that is actually zoned business as well. But then if you look to the right, the far right-hand corner, Andrew and Kim Amatrudo, that is zoned residential. So from that property line, there's a 50-foot setback that's required. So that's where you see that dashed arc in the right corner of the building. Do you see where the dumpster is? Right below the dumpster, there's a line there. 50-foot minimum rear yard. They're proposing to have the bottom right-hand corner of the building within that 50-foot setback. So again, it's supposed to be 50 feet. They are requesting that it could go down to 35.7.
Okay, and those, just for point of reference, I guess, those little dotted lines underneath there, those are plantings that the applicant plans to put in there as to be somewhat of a barrier between their building and the.
That's correct. That's correct, Mr. Chairman. That's what we are proposing, those arborvitae, those tall trees. So anytime people pull in and they that lights and evening time, nobody interrupt these right now, these homes behind. Right now, nothing is there, but we are proposing so just to be good neighbors and try to protect everybody in a good manners.
Okay, well, it'd be good, just, you can get arborvitae's different sizes, right? You can get them anywhere from 1.5 feet high up to 5 feet high. to start.
We are looking, Mr. Chairman, we are looking at least 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet, sir.
Okay, well, yeah, well, then that's a good start, because I got some between myself and my neighbor, and we put in about 5-foot ones, and it took, 8-10 years for them to get up to 12 feet high, so.
That's why I'm requesting you, Mr. Chairman, from 8 feet to so that way that even we are going to plant little tight, so that way there's no tight or there is no interruption go to the neighbors.
Okay.
As well as any time in the winter and all that things, we'll make sure whatever being a good neighbors, whatever we can take care of this right away for that, driveway and all that stuff. So we'll manage it in a good manner as well, sir. We are here for long terms, and I promise you, all the neighbors, we are going to be a good people there, I promise you. They don't see that junkyard, they don't see those cars parked there. Unfortunately, the previous tenant is moving out in about 4 to 6 weeks. So once that the person is gone, you take today's picture, and I promise you, the day you come for the grand opening, you'll be very happy what we did, what we have a plan to do this site, sir.
Okay, and I heard with talking with Carrie that you own another gas station and convenience store in our town, right?
That's correct, sir.
And that's down at Cyril Road and Route 80, or the mobile station?
That's correct, sir.
And just for other board members, that's, I mean, I know that's, I go down Route 80 all the time, and that's, it seems to be a pretty clean operation you have running there.
I promise you, Mr. Chairman, we don't disappoint either any of neighbors, any of the town members, as well as we never let ourselves down at the city as well, sir.
Okay, I'm pretty clear with what's being asked here. It's, you know, it's a lot of variances, right? And I know part of it is because, I mean, this property is a non-conforming lot to begin with, right? So it's constrained in size right from the start. So I gather that's why, you know, a lot of times we get applications for variances, they don't have, was there 7 different variances being asked for here? So, okay, so that's from Vin there, putting up the Cyril Road operation, just for those who maybe weren't familiar with it. Boy, Vin, you're a whiz, man.
That's what I do. I do have a question for you. My name is Vin Valero. I'm the alternate member here on the board. My one concern when I look at the plan, and let me bring that plan up here.
The final, yep.
Yeah. So when I don't want that. Okay. So when I look at the plan here,
Yes, sir.
my one concern is the neighbor's shared driveway here.
Yes, sir.
Now over here on this side, right, they got this shared drive here, and I know you have some parking here, and you know, obviously cars coming in and out. Is there a way to separate? It doesn't look like there's much room here, but is there a way to separate the driveway and your lot so that those people wouldn't get caught up with, you know, trying to pull in and there's a handful of cars, a busy day or a busy time of the day, and they can't get to their house because there's cars parked in the way or something?
What I can request you, as long as Carrie, she's a town planner, she is listening me. In reality, some town, they do accept when you getting the gas, they count as a parking space. So we can eliminate, as long as you guys like, we can eliminate number 4 and number 5 parking. So, and we can just like, as long as, you know, town planner, she's comfortable with that, and we can consider some of those like 6 cars as a parking. So that will give us a room, like at least those will have a, like have a, you know, it don't show there's some cars right next to the driveway. The reason we proposed that whole thing because, you know, the town planner, they requested number of parkings has to be there. So that's why we put it there. If you want, we can eliminate number 4 parking. And as long as Carrie, you recommend anything, ma'am?
Yes, so I think that would be reasonable, and if the variances are granted, then that would be something that the Planning and Zoning Commission would look at as part of the site plan review. And in looking closer at the plan over the past few days, number 4 would actually have to be eliminated anyway, and that was something that I had missed. Because again, the right-of-way is considered a street line, and parking is not permitted within 10 feet of the street line. So even if you eliminate number 4, you would still have 16 parking spaces, which would be okay. And and permitted. I think that I would agree that I would encourage the Planning and Zoning Commission to not have parking on that side, because I think that it would encourage people to park not only there, but then possibly out into the right-of-way, which we would want to avoid. So again, assuming that you get the variances, you are approved, then that's something that Planning and Zoning would look at. And they do have the flexibility of reducing or lessening, I guess, the parking requirement, so long as you can show that you can provide more parking if it's needed.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, I guess my question is a little different. I'm a little less concerned about the parking spot, but obviously now it sounds like it wouldn't be an option anyway. I was more concerned if there's a way to kind of cordon off, like put a curb or something between the driveway and the area for pulling in to get gas. I you know, from this drawing, I can't really tell if there's enough space or if there's enough room before it starts to abut on the neighbor's property. So I don't know how much space is there. I'm wondering if this is something that could be done to hopefully assist the people who live behind you, basically, right?
What if you want, if you like, Mr. Chairman, we also can create maybe like a 2 feet little island where the number 4 parking all the way to the property line. So that will give them a safety and secure, so when they drive in from that, they have a little comfort level. Is that acceptable, sir?
I don't know that I don't know that I'm looking for necessarily the comfort level, just kind of a way to provide the people with just kind of hoping that nobody's ever going to block them in, right? Like, so, say you're at home and you have an emergency, you gotta get out of the house, you go to leave, and there's 4 cars lined up waiting to get gas in the front of your driveway, and you can't leave, right? That's the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid. I don't know if there's enough room to do something like that. Just
Yeah,
trying to.
we can, if you want, we can create small, like a island from where the back of the parking, where the 4 number parking start. We can just create like a little island in between, like a 2 feet goes all the way to the property line. So it will separate between which going to be on our property line, and it will be helped like people going up and down. So nobody's in their way, sir.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the items that your budding property owner behind in their letter that I paraphrased there, they're asking for to have installed a fence or some type of barrier to keep customers from blocking their access road. So I think that I believe that's what you're proposing to do, is put some kind of barrier between their existing driveway and the front of the the gas station and convenience store, so that wouldn't happen. That's what's being asked.
Right, Mr. Chairman, if you like, with all respect, I really don't want to go with the fence, because the snow plowing, it will damage every day. I highly recommend if we can create a small, like a couple feet of the driveway, like the curb like a asphalt curb on the both side. We can create like some low profile, some bushes, which can create a fence. So that way it don't harm, it look presentable to the people going up and down, and it creates some kind of barrier between that people who's doing the business in the gas station. So they feel like this is a separation wall.
Okay, I think that's
I have
being asked, that's what's
question.
being asked for. So that sounds reasonable to me.
Steve, I have a question.
Yeah,
Melinda.
yeah.
I'm looking at the aerial photography that on the city's GIS, and there's a right of way on both sides, which I don't see in the plans that were submitted, that grassland area that's currently there. So if you go, Ben, if you pull up the current GIS photo from the city, it's not in our package. But if you go to GIS, North Branford GIS, and then type in 1167.
67 GIS.
and then click the top one, and then just put 1167 Foxton. And turn on the aerial layer after you hit search. If you do the one at the, yeah, there you go. Okay, so you see the grassland on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Is that going to be replaced? Because now we're talking about potentially people coming in to get gas that are blocking two means of egress. And the one on the right-hand side in this photo is a common driveway for a residence, and it looks like two commercial structures that are back there as well. So my real concern is, how are we going to, I think that as a general statement, what you're looking to do is improve the setback lines that are currently there from the street, but you're also making a bigger building, something that's going to have more traffic. And my biggest concern is, how is this going to affect the residential neighbors? Like, there has to be something in place based on the current right of way.
If you want, we can create some of planting on that side as well. So it's just like give like a separation point, like a which little you know, like a presentable, which like people from this side don't park the car. The way the whole proposed plan shows, our parking is on our property line, but anything like beyond that point, some right on the property line, we can just create some landscaping, or we can create some separation point, so that way people don't you know, nobody can drive through.
I think my concern is that the driveway for the residential properties is where people are going to be pulling in for gas. How are you going to separate the access so that if I want to get in my driveway and you've got 3 people lined up for gas, how am I getting in my driveway?
That those existing curb cuts we are remaining as is, so
But the neighbor's access road goes right through this. That's the curb cut that they would pull in to get gas on your property. How are we going to keep this open for the residents? We don't want to disrupt them.
we can create some like a line striping, do not park, so that way, you know, like nobody is holding their driveway, man.
So I just wanted to be clear, Melinda, I hear where you're coming from, and Carrie may be able to help us. The right-of-way on the east side, that's here, right?
Correct.
It's to the right. I'm gonna say right because it's to the east-ish. It's to the east of this line here, and people will be coming in actually over here, right? So I think that right away is not, it's not in consideration here. Is that correct?
That's correct. I think that there's not an overlap of that right of way on this parcel.
On this parcel.
Unlike the one to the west.
Right, the one to the west, because it almost passes completely through it, and that's really a concern.
But to Melinda's point, I did talk with one of the interior property owners, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, and he does have concerns, rightfully so, about people driving over the grass, which you saw on the aerial image from the town's GIS. There were parked cars on the grass. Yeah. So, and again, that would be something that planning and zoning would deal with at the site plan review portion of putting up, again, some kind of a curb or plantings or fence, some kind of barrier to keep people on that property and then prevent them from blocking that driveway or driving right through to get directly to the gas pumps.
Right, yeah, it's, so we could have some kind of barrier here on the east side,
Sure, definitely.
And then also a barrier here to kind of split off the driveway for the people, and done with a little curb and some,
Right.
proper bushing or whatever that makes good sense. It doesn't have to be, 20 feet high, but it should be sufficient that it's obvious not to pull in here. Don't drive over here. This is not where the gas station is.
Right. Yeah, we can look into that. That's no problem, sir.
All right, should we close the public hearing at this point? I mean, this hasn't happened yet.
We haven't switched to the public hearing, I don't think. We're asking questions still, right?
All right.
Wait, we're not having a public hearing here?
Well, no. The public hasn't been invited to discuss.
No, the applicant's testimony begins the public hearing.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Okay, we're still in the public hearing phase there, Tom. Yeah, we are.
So I just want to make sure before you close the public hearing that there are not comments on Facebook.
Yeah, I wasn't about to close it. No,
None?
there's-
Okay. No. Okay, there's none at this point, so.
Okay, I have one, just to verify something. So the existing, gas station operation, as you can see in the picture that Vin's got actually up on the screen there, it's got a fairly large number. There's 1, 2, 3, there's about 6, 7 cars parked in the back, various states of disrepair or how long they've been there. The current applicant, there's no intention to have, to do maintenance, right, for cars, and there will be no, cars parked on the lot like there are now?
Mr. Chairman, I assure you, there is no maintenance at place. And that's the reason you can see the car majority of the previous person. He's a repair shop and sometimes short the space or people who can drive or tow truck kind of stuff. But there's not going to be any kind of operation at that site, no maintenance. I guaranteed you, I assure you, that's the reason we just want to address the whole thing. So, the way our plan shows, there is absolutely no maintenance at site, sir.
Okay, that's good. I think, I'm kind of skimming through on my cell phone, the points that the Amateurs brought up, and I believe we've addressed most of their concerns that I can see. The notice, the encroachment, the right-of-way.
And Mr. Chairman, as I just mentioned you, another thing that on the neighbors, if they have some issue with the driveway, I assure you, when we are doing all the paving, we'll address all their concern as well. We'll take good care of their driveway as well, sir.
Okay,
We are there being a good neighbors, and we are there with a good businessman, I promise you, and I assure you, and we time to time will check our neighbors. If they have any concern or issue, being a human, we'll make sure they are addressed professionally without town getting involved, I promise you, sir.
okay. Any more questions from board members to the applicant? What's being proposed here?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Okay,
Mr.
Okay.
Kellett,
Yes, sir.
what is your interest in the property?
We have an interest in this property for the long term, sir.
No, real property interest. Do you have a long-term lease?
Well, it's going to be, we are going to self-operation, sir.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
We are going to operate ourselves, the self-operation, sir. We are not going to lease.
Well,
Tom, I believe he purchased the property is what he stated earlier.
okay, I saw somebody else appearing owner. Mr. Khaled, you are the owner.
My brother is the owner, sir.
Okay, and when did he acquire title?
I can, he's on as well as on a meeting, Iftikhar, when we have this thing acquired.
Did you acquire it when it was a non-conforming parcel?
I believe it was, yes, sir.
It was. Okay, very good. And so, knowing that, is this just not an application to increase the economic viability of the parcel that's already been subjected to what we could call non-conforming use?
Well, we when we purchase it, based upon this, that, you know, one day we can go to the town and have this thing, you know, like, to change its or complete configuration and put some better pumps and better building. No doubt it will be help for us as well as the neighborhood, because we count all these businesses for the neighborhood. I mean, this is no highway, and we want to, our intentions was like to do good business.
No, I understand that. But when your brother acquired the parcel, it was a non-conforming gas, correct?
Right.
Okay. And so whatever your relationship is between you and your brother, it remains a non-conforming gas, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you are conducting your gas station business there under these pre-existing non-conforming situations, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you do understand that there's an obligation to ban non-conforming uses, correct?
Well, that's why we requesting to the town if they can give us some blessings or help us to have improved the site, sir.
Okay. No, I understand. Okay. Nothing further.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant from a board member? Okay, I guess I'll state to the record, anyone, Carrie, you don't have any inputs from anyone in the public, either for or against this application at this point?
Okay. Oh,
Nope,
Steve?
she's coming back.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I just have really bad reception, so, there are 2 comments, so I'm trying to get them. Problem with technology.
Is it something I can pull up on the Facebook page?
Yes. Oh, Vin, you're the best.
Careful, you let it go to my head.
And then search under Totucket TV. Now we'll see ourselves.
I got the Totucket in. Totucket TV. Is this it?
There we
The
are.
Board of Appeals is live.
Ah,
All right, there you are.
so weird.
Okay, so this here,
Yes, and then if you click on the see more, then it will show the whole thing.
Oh, good.
is something we would want to read in.
Yes, do you want me to read it in, or what would you like, Steve?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. We have owned the home immediately behind the Fox and Gas stop for the past 40 years. In addition, we are partial owners of the lot to the west of the Fox and Gas stop. One last thought on emergency access. As the Assistant Chief of the North Branford Fire Department, I would not want to have to explain that my response to an emergency incident was delayed because my driveway was blocked by a customer or delivery vehicle of the applicant. More importantly, the fire department ambulance has responded to one of our neighbors' homes twice in the past year. Imagine the town's liability if our fire apparatus or ambulance were delayed responding to any of the 4 homes because access on the communal right of way was blocked. If the applicants offer separating their commercial operations from our residential property and respecting the two rights of way, if the applicants offer separating their commercial operations from our residential property and respecting the two rights of way, the proposed design will only further encroach on our residential property and our access to and from it. In closing, we will support the application if an island with curbing, with plantings, striping at the striping at the entrance, and 10-foot tall evergreen trees. Respectfully submitted, Mark and Gloria Amatrudo, 1163 Foxen Road, and for Jams Partners.
Okay, is there one underneath it too? Or is that,
I think it just says one comment.
okay,
So that sounds very similar to the question I had earlier,
all right, yeah,
that Mr. Khalid said he would be taking, he would try and support it as best he could.
so the applicant, was able to hear or see what was just,
Yes, sir.
read into the record here? Are you have any problems with what they're asking for?
Absolutely no, there's no issue, no problem, Mr. Chairman. We are there for some reason, and we are there to make sure our neighbors at the the people living behind, they don't have any concern or issue. Or like I said, we can write down do not block the driveway. And, we are most civilized nation on earth. I know sometime when the ambulance or things comes on a road, everybody respect them to move on. But like I said, we already have a plan, like I mentioned we create a sum of curbing, so it's separate between the gas operation to the driveway, so nobody interfering in any of their business, and we'll make sure it will be done all the time, sir.
Okay, so when you do go to zoning, to get your zoning, approval, that'll be part of the requirement that'll come up on the zoning, application, and when it gets approved, right, Carrie? That can be put into
Yes.
the zoning board when that meets to.
Yes, and I
consider this
did let
application.
the abutters that I spoke with over the past few days, I did let them know that if a variance were to be granted and that this application went forward to planning and zoning, that it would be a site plan, so it would not be a public hearing. That being said, the commission does take into account comments from staff, such as myself, and obviously from the ZBA. So those concerns would definitely, and they would recognize them as well, just given the layout of the site.
Okay, well, good, that's good. Do we got input from the public? That was the only one that we
Yes.
received? Okay, so at this point, we'll close the public hearing at 8:05 and discuss the application amongst board members. Any opening thoughts from any of the board members who are going to be voting tonight?
Oh, this is Vin Valero. I have some thoughts. So presently, the property there is does not look attractive at all. It's quite the eyesore, actually. I don't like driving by it. Based on the present property that the applicant has up the road, I would expect that it would be in much better shape and much more attractive to look at as I drove by every time I do, which I do often. And I might actually pull in for gas too. Also, the applicant said that he would address the concerns of the neighbors in the back and try to separate the driveway as best he could and provide a clear path to ensure that the safety of the people living behind them and their access to their homes is available. And in doing so, lastly, he also is going to remove one of the, or lessen one of the zoning violations that are presently in place, where the canopy will not be as close to Foxen Road as it is today. They'll actually move back a few feet, which I think is also a good thing. Um, that's my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other comments from board members?
Well, Tom Caton speaking. It's a non-conforming use. We're expanding the non-conforming use. And I haven't seen anything in the evidence presented that suggests this is nothing more than an expansion for an economic advantage. So
Sorry, Tom, I just want to clarify. It's, the lot is non-conforming, not the use.
the lot is non-conforming, and what we'll be doing by allowing this to expand a non-conforming use.
Well, it's been,
Kerry, the zoning was changed a few years ago, right, to B1 on that lot?
Yes, it's business. Yes.
So I think I have to agree with Tom that, I think that this is a better improved plan because we're not as close to the road. We're setting the building back. We're taking away the maintenance, which is where the collection of the cars come. I think it's an improvement to what is there. There's just that concern of giving the separate access driveway to the people in the back so that their safety and their access to, dwell in their properties isn't disturbed.
yeah, well, that's true. And my thought, and I appreciate what Tom's saying, as we all know, financial impact cannot be a hardship. If someone wants to put two houses on a lot that's zoned for one, well, that we don't do that because just because someone wants to make more money on a lot. But in this case, here's a non-conforming lot. It's been non-conforming. I saw that from 1955, there's been a gas station there. So I don't see the applicant is changing. He's obviously not changing the usage, and he's not changing the overall intent of what the property is there for. We also have to find a hardship. Now, the applicant could buy the lot and just try to operate it exactly how it looks, and he wouldn't be before us. All the applicant's trying to do is improve the property for a usage that it's been a usage for 65 or 70 years. So that's where I see the hardship is the fact that the lot is non-conforming and has been for many, many years, and he's trying to improve the property and use it the exact same way it's been used for a long time. So I see the hardship is that it's the lot itself that he's working with. And I agree with you, Tom. They knew this was lot, it was non-conforming, and they would have to come before us when they bought the property. That's happened in the past too. Someone buys a lot and then tries to change it. Well, here they're not really changing it so much as improving it, in my mind. So, we have to find a hardship. I see the hardship being the lot itself and the use that they're going to be using it for, which has been the same use for many years. He's going to address the input received from the neighbors right behind, a very well-written letter, clearly stating their issues that I believe have been addressed tonight in our meeting. And the right-of-way is not going to be an issue anymore, based upon what the applicant has said and what planning and zoning will impose on the lot. So I see it as kind of a win-win here for everybody, and an existing hardship being addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mm-hmm. Right, we have to have, we need 4 positive votes to pass. We'll see what happens, but any other Any other inputs from board members on their feelings before one of you would like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve application number 2020-6, 1167 Foxen Road, requesting a variance to reduce the street line setback from 50 feet to 25.4 feet along the western right-of-way, street line setback from 50 feet to 10.7 feet along the southern right-of-way, and the setback from residential district from 50 feet to 35.7 feet for construction of a proposed new gas station convenience store.
I'll second that.
Okay, John Duty, seconded. Any final debate or discussion among members before we vote? Okay, not all those in favor of the motion to approve the application, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Were we gonna do roll call on that, or?
Yeah, we will, just to make sure. Tom, yours was opposed, right?
Correct.
And Melinda?
Approved.
And Jen?
Approve?
And John?
Approve.
And myself approve. So the application passes 4-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you. Okay. Any new business? I don't remember if we have any new business. Do we, Carrie?
No, we do not.
Okay, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
From Melinda. You have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by John Duty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Okay, meeting adjourned at 8:13. Thank you, everyone, for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Have a
everyone.
good day,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.